This podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. It is not medical advice. Please consult a qualified healthcare professional before making any health or lifestyle changes. Welcome to the Happy Healthy Her podcast, your go-to space for real talk, inspiration, and laughter as we navigate life as a woman. Let's dive in.
Well, hello and welcome back to another episode of the Happy Healthy Her podcast, where we explore real practical ways to live happier, healthier, and more fulfilled lives. I'm your host, Tracey, a health empowerment coach, here to help you eat better, move smarter, and reduce your chronic pain and fibromyalgia symptoms. And as always, we also have my good friend and co-host, Lorraine Kihm. Lorraine, would you like to say hi and introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. I'm Lorraine Kihm, your empowerment and mindset coach, guiding women to live authentically through self-discovery and self-healing.
Wonderful. Thank you. So today, very excited, we have a very special guest, Dr. Christiane Schroeter. She is a business and wellness coach, a professor, and a best-selling author. She created Petite Practice, a clarity-first framework that helps professionals grow sustainably through small, intentional actions. She's also the host of the globally ranked top 1% podcast, The Happy Healthy Hustle, where she shares practical tools for aligned growth. Her mission is to help people build businesses that feel clear, energizing, and true to who they really are. So we're so excited to have you here, Dr. Christiane, sorry. So welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, this is going to be a great conversation. We're really looking forward to this. So, all right, so let's jump right in. Okay, so I love how you blend business strategy and well-being. So to kick things off, can you just share a bit about your journey, how you went from being a Fulbright scholar from Germany, fantastic, to creating this whole Petite Practice approach? Like what inspired it and how does it look, what does it look like in action?
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, when I came to the United States, I earned a Fulbright scholarship to come here. And that's probably the perfect introduction to the word Petite Practice. I've always been passionate about languages. So growing up in Germany, of course, in Europe, you grow up with English, you grow up with French. But I also knew that I wanted to experience different cultures. And what better way to do that than studying abroad? So if you are a college student listening to this right now, this is your opportunity to maybe explore the world. Definitely the easiest time ever to do that while you're in college.
Yes.
Applied for various programs, came to the United States, and realized that the live to work culture and the work to live culture definitely have their parts on the globe. So in Europe, we very much we basically enjoy our leisure time, and Saturdays and Sundays are the time when we're really stepping away from that work. Mm-hmm. And there is like a very strict division between that. If you want that, it's maybe even the introduction. So petite is French small, and practice just means that you're taking small steps to aligning yourself with who you really are, whether that's in your business or in your life. Just taking small steps and stepping away into something that's a little bit more joyful. Mm-hmm. And when I came to the United States, I quickly realized I love the hustle culture very, very much, but I still wanted to be happy and healthy. And that's now also the name of my podcast, but that's really who I am. So actually, I personally really embraced the hustle culture. When I came to the United States, I felt I was stepping into my own superpower. At the same time, I still wanted to bring some of that European alignment, that leisure wellness orientation with me. And that's really who I am now. I'm a business coach. I very much always appreciate when I share some insights from Europe and some insights from how we can step into our own wellness. So that's who I am in a nutshell.
Oh my God. Absolutely love that. Yeah, that's coming from Germany to my culture is German. So I don't know German, but I hear it's such a fantastic place. That's very cool. Um, Being focused on one petite practice instead of running in 1,000 different directions chasing your tail. It just seems so freeing. Like, because like you say, we've been always been that go, 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 rush, rush, hustle all the time. You got to work harder to get ahead. And I love the other side of that where you come from, where, no, you know what? Sit back, relax, just chill out a little bit. Yes, Lorraine, do you have comments?
Sure. I just love that
Hmm.
you were able to somehow come up with a method, something repeatable for these
Mhm.
small steps and being able to like have one step at another turn into a goal and really progress, which is what a lot of us have trouble doing. You know, we
Yeah.
get stuck, we get lost, we don't know where to start. So I just love this. And it aligns with our show, and what we tell to people too is we always
Mhm.
are talking about just take small steps, just take
Baby
small steps
steps.
and celebrate your wins. And so I love that it lines so much with that. So I really appreciate that. So, what I also noticed is that you spoke about the curiosity and bringing back that critical thinking that somehow in our culture that we've lost. As you were saying, you were talking about, I guess, I don't know if it's unique to America, but we're just go, go, go. And it's always efficiency and just getting things done. And people don't spend enough time, you know, thinking and being creative and just experimenting more to really come up with a better product, to really be able to help customers better and stuff. So I love that you were able to figure out this method where there's these small intentional steps and it gives the professionals time to be creative, to really think about what's going to be the consequences of whatever they're doing in their professional life. So I just love that. And so I was wondering if that kind of work life that you're encouraging through this method, Petite Practice, does it spill over into their personal lives? Do you find that because of what they're doing at work and they're being creative and expressive and experimental and, you know, really critically thinking and their curiosity and everything, do you find that their personal lives are also being affected to where they make these small changes there as well?
Oh, that's a beautiful question. And I've always debated. So my job title, business and wellness coach,
Mhm.
I've always debated maybe I should call myself something different because it's a long
Mhm.
job title. On my business card, I had to really go down with the font size to match that all on there, including the long German first and last name, right?
Mhm. Right.
And I want to also emphasize, first and foremost, my full-time job, I'm actually a mom, right? So what better
Mhm.
way to think about this than being a role model? So I'm a full-time professor at the university, but I also want to model to my children, we need to take care of ourselves to be the very best version of ourselves. And what better way to do that than really weave in the wellness? And
Mhm.
my best ideas don't happen at the computer. So I use my petite practice in my job. I break down projects into simple steps and then I tell others about the steps and really think about like how I'm going to go about this. But I also weave wellness into my day and petite practice. So I maybe might do like a 15-minute workout before dinner
Mhm.
time because I don't have an hour. I
Oh,
might
Mhm.
do a 5-minute walk before a Zoom meeting because that's just something that will refresh me and will kind of clear my mind before I sit down at the computer. So the petite practice really feeds your synergy into the business, and you're going to run a better business because you have these little moments of joy where you're stepping away and you're refreshing your mind and you're resetting and you're coming back and you're much more focused because you took care of yourself. It's nearly like a free reward system to really give yourself a high five of what you're doing. And it, again, it's simple, It's free, but at the same time, it really fuels your momentum to keep going.
I love that. I love that you're
Yeah.
taking these little small moments in between, because a lot of us don't think of that. We just tell ourselves we don't have the time. But to take 5 minutes and maybe do jumping jacks,
Yeah.
or to just step outside and look at your garden or breathe the fresh air or put your bare feet in the grass or something. It only takes a moment to do these things in between, like you were saying. So I just love that. Thank you.
Yes, I agree. And I thought the same thing when I was looking into reading all your stuff. I'm like, that's perfect, because it's absolutely your title is perfect. Because health and business, it all ties together, right? If you're not healthy, you're not going to be successful in your business, because it's going to consume. So those baby steps, petite little practices, they're fantastic. I love it, love it, love it. Such a great foundation. And it really ties into our audience. Like Lorraine said, this, we talk about this stuff all the time. Baby steps, small chunks, right? So, and many of our listeners are juggling businesses, families, and personal goals. So you already kind of did this, but maybe you can jump into a little more. Like, can you walk us through why the Petite Practice works so well for people who are really stretched thin?
Yeah, I would love to. And also, if the audience has the opportunity, I invite you to watch the TEDx talk, where I'm really going into much more of my personal journey, but also some of the transformational stories from my students and my clients. So I'm going to boil down the TEDx talk into like a 30-second rundown right now. But again, watch the whole thing, because you see me with my hair open and my nice outfit on the stage, and it's a really fun talk. You can see I had fun. So the step framework, right? It's starting with the S for simplify. Big ideas are amazing, and I would love for you to have those big ideas, but you have to break each idea down into small steps. So S for simplify, T for tell. You have to share your idea with others. Only then it really gets legs and it actually goes somewhere. If it just stays in your head, nobody will ever know what you were planning on doing with your life or with your big idea. So simplify, T for tell, then E for examine. Look a little bit of what worked well in the past, what you're really good at, and then use that to make a plan to move forward. And I also encourage you to look at what maybe didn't work well and just be really honest with yourself, because if it doesn't work well, don't continue doing it, right? Maybe pivot. Pivot is actually a sign of strength. It's not a weakness. So simplify, tell, examine. And now we are coming to my favorite one, which is the praise progress. That's the P. STEP, praise progress, is how you need to finish your day, how you need to finish your week, and how you need to finish your month, and really thinking, my gosh, what was the best thing that happened all month? And we do this every time at dinner, every day. I ask my children, what was your favorite part of the day? I don't ask them what was the best one or what was the most successful one. We're not giving out attendance trophies. I basically just want to hear what was your favorite part. And sometimes it's like something that actually didn't work very well, but it's favorite because they learned something from it, right?
Love it.
Right.
So cool. Yep. Thank you for that. That was great. Do you find this process helps a lot of us with businesses get stuck in that creation mode and you just can't break free of that? Do you have little steps? Again, I know you have your step, right, that you just explained, but how do you get out of that mode? Do you have any little tricks for that?
What I always feel is important that you tap in with your learning style. So think, well, are you a visual learner that maybe needs to write everything down on little sticky notes or a big whiteboard? And then you taking literally a step back and you look at it and you're thinking, okay, now I can see how this is all related in a flow chart. And let me just map this out here. That could be visual, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe you're somebody that needs to look at it and read it and maybe read some like paragraphs about it. And all of a sudden you feel like it triggers something in your mind, how you can break down this big, overwhelming paragraph into something that's more digestible into these little steps and pieces. Or maybe you're kinesthetic learner, and that's pretty much who I am. So I would probably write it on that whiteboard, and then I would take sticky notes and I would literally like take them off the whiteboard and move them around. That's always how I think in my mind. Like when I write a book, I always think like how the chapters move together and move them along. It's nearly like a puzzle where I'm feeling, does that fit here? No, does it fit here? And I think that will really help you become unstuck, because we are all individually different. But when we are stuck, we're just feeling something is big and overwhelming. And it's just like, think about the Petite Practice as like little kernels of sand that you would put into a tire that just keeps spinning and spinning because you are pushing more gas into it. Don't do what you have been doing because it got you stuck, but maybe add some petite practices and just change things up a little bit, try something a little bit different. And then all of a sudden you're feeling, oh, now it's actually gripping and I'm getting out of this. And if you've ever driven a car and you got stuck in sand or snow,
right? Yeah.
You know that just changing things up will actually get you out of that position of snow or sand, wherever you got stuck, or mud.
Exactly.
And all of a sudden you're
gear
feeling like,
down.
now I'm gripping.
Slow down. That's absolutely. Well, thank you. That's great. Very good. Lorraine?
Well, I'm glad that you brought up the TED Talk. I did watch it, and I loved that you used the word fail and no. And when I was researching this, I learned a new word. It's called backronym. When you take a word and you use the letters to form new words that are almost the opposite of. So instead of fail, you have, I think I wrote it down, first attempt in learning. So
nice.
that is a really wonderful way to think of that. Instead of thinking I'm failing or it didn't work, or to say, well, that was just my first attempt. I'm learning and it's only getting better from here. And the same with no, you said next opportunity. So instead of feeling rejected, as they say, you close a door, a window opens, that kind of thing. So I love that you give that incentive to people while they're doing something to look hopeful to that next step and putting that petite practice in motion with those smaller steps. So I thought that was really fantastic. So I'm curious, do you find that when people adopt this kind of language, it changes the relationship with the growth that they're trying to do? So just using this language is helpful to like propel them, give them hope, give them energy to keep going. And do you think that they start enjoying the process rather than fearing it?
Oh, great questions. And I love that you picked up on the acronyms. In fact, you're going to love this now because I'm an entrepreneur. This week we are actually we have a YouTube show, my Happy Healthy Hustle YouTube show. And this week we're going to show for the very first time the coffee mugs that we created with the sayings on them. So that might turn into some Christmas merchandise on my website. But right now, a lot of people ask me, they said, why don't you make like sweaters? And I said, I'm going to start with coffee mugs because I'm a professor, right? But yeah, that FAIL, the first attempt in learning, will be on a mug. And we're actually going to do even mug shots with it. So
I
I have so much
that.
fun with it. I know you're like, I'm like totally nerdy about this. All right. So let's maybe talk a little bit about that word fail. It has a little bit, just like hustle, a negative connotation with it. To where you listen to the word hustle and it's like, it just sounds like a little negative. And it sounds like kind of like exhausting. Just like fail. It sounds like I don't even want to admit that I fail. Where in reality, I think the best leaders are the ones that share their failures. I tell my students in my classroom and my clients all the time, I've tried that and that didn't work, right? And I did that. And whoa, that was like, whoo, learned something out of that experience. Now think about this. If you fail with something small, not a big deal. That was your petite practice and you're just moving on. But like, for instance, you want to pitch yourself to a job or a podcast or even a TEDx talk, right? So you're working all month on this thing and you submit this one pitch per month, and that's amazing. And you worked on this and it was really hard and it didn't work. Awesome. So that was just your first pitch or your first attempt in learning for that particular opportunity. Maybe it wasn't your first pitch, maybe it was your 222nd pitch, but it was still the first time you prepared it that way. So just pivot, right? As I mentioned, pivoting is a sign of strength. So making it more about the learning that happens and making it more about thinking that was my first time I did it in that particular way. I think I just need to maybe, again, examining it, I just need to just tweak things up a little bit, really creates a moment of learning, which in reality, that's what just failures are. And the best entrepreneurs are not the ones that share their successes with us. They share the moments when they got up and they kept going.
Right.
And they say, I tried this 400 times and it didn't work. And then all of a sudden, the 401st time, all of a sudden it worked. And those are the best ones because no innovation ever was successful the first time. It's just the journey that led you there that we don't even see. We just see the end product. But sharing that, that's really when you are the successful leader and you have sustainability in your business because you are very honest about what led you there, right? Mm-hmm. And I think when I stood on that stage, I was really just sharing also, again, watch the talk, but I was sharing stories from the classroom about how the students, after I shared my failures, became more comfortable with sharing their failures. Mm-hmm. And that it really normalized the fact that life isn't just bubbles and unicorns. It's actually just all these little nuggets that are strung together that make us better people.
Yes.
And don't we have some of the best discoveries that were accidents?
Oh, absolutely.
That some of them are. And I know that there's a famous quote, and I wish I was smart enough to research this before this podcast, but it's like, I learned 1,001 ways not to, I think it was make a light bulb or something like that. And so to have that kind of attitude when you're learning, when you're growing, when you're trying to build something, is just amazing because that's what we need. We want these inventive, creative, resilient professionals doing wonderful things for all of us. So I love that. Great.
Yeah. How are we ever going to coach somebody else if we've never experienced all the pain to get here ourselves, right?
Yes.
That's not even realistic. So yes,
absolutely.
We all absolutely good. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So now that we understand the petite practice and why it works, let's bring it home for the listeners. And how can someone start applying this today?
The most important thing is, using that step system, the simplify, tell, examine, praise, and that you're very aware we are all different. So my petite practice is going to be different from your petite practice, going to be different from your petite practice. So even the two of you who are working together might have completely different steps and petite practices in your life. So you need to be honest with yourself and really dig down and figure out what makes you happy, what brings you joy, and then really use that. So the magic comes if you sit down today and you think, what can I do today that will move the needle? Because especially if you're stuck, just take out one little element and think, all right, what can I do today that maybe takes a little piece of that burden away? Because that's really where the magic happened, that you're creating momentum. You take out a petite practice and you're doing this today before you change your mind tomorrow. That's just so important.
Yeah, exactly right. Yes. Lorraine, I think you had questions.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about your superpower quiz. because I know that that's kind of what you're talking about, trying to figure out kind of what kind of learner we are or what it is that we want, how we want to go through, to make a plan. We want to be happy, or we want to be thoughtful, or we want all these different goals, and we're all different. And so I love that you put the customization in Petite Practice, even though you did boil it down to an actual methodology, it still has that personalization and customization, because we're all different. We all have different ideas. We all have different methods of learning. We all have different perspectives. And so I love that about it. And I do have something here. Micro action fits them best. I love that you have micro actions. So most of us are frozen when we think that we've got this huge mountain that we're trying to climb. And so these micro actions make it just that one step at a time, and you're focused. And that's really helpful for your goals as well. You're being super focused on what's in front of you, what can be done then, and not looking up at the top of the mountain and just how tiring that's going to be. So I love that. So what is it that you looked for when you were making this quiz? How did you come up with these kinds of different micro actions? What were you looking for to kind of be able to direct and guide people to figure out the way that might work for them best?
Now, this is a fabulous question. Thank you for asking, Lorraine. I think one of the most important things is when I ask people on my podcast, what is your superpower? The majority, 80% of my guests cannot answer that question right away. And I usually give them the questions ahead of time, just to be fair. And well, I learned, right? Not that I failed, but I was my first attempt at learning. I just asked people on the spot, and they're like, oh, I don't actually know. And I was like, oh, maybe I should have done this ahead of time. So I learned, and now I send it ahead of time, so they have some time to think about it, right? What is your superpower? And then once they started thinking about it, they realized that they are sometimes not very aware of this. So the quiz helps you figure out how well are you aligning your life, your business, who you are with your superpower. Because it could be there is actually a type that we call superpower in hiding that you haven't even fully discovered what it is yet. And so you're kind of hiding it. And that means the rest of the world doesn't really even know how amazing you are because you haven't shared it with the world yet. And that is really how I thought about this. I thought in my own life, when I use the word superpower, what has happened in the past when I used that word and when I used the question? And then based on that experience, I built the quiz, right? So I don't, I probably have talked to hundreds of people about this, to be honest with you. Wow. And I always want to think every experience that I do in my life and every action that I take, these micro actions are going to be leading to something. It's like little roots that I built that grow my tree. And that's also why on that book cover, you can kind of see it behind me. The roots of the tree are just as deep as the tree itself, because the roots are really what makes you you and how you're drawing your nutrients and how you're making what the world sees absolutely amazing. But the roots are inside of you. So all these conversations, I had them all in my head, but then I thought, well, I probably should share that with the world. And that's really when the top of the tree came out, when I thought maybe I should make a quiz based on that. And so in reality, we do that so many times when we see something or we learn something, but we just don't share it with the world, or we experience something. And that's really how the Discovery Superpower Quiz was built, that we just can't be in hiding. We actually need to align ourselves with it and let that superpower shine through.
Thank you.
Wow.
I appreciate that.
Good answer. Yes. I took the quiz. I took that last night, No, mine, I've got a 14, so I'm in progress or something.
Love
Superpower.
it.
Yeah, it was very interesting. It was a cool quiz. All right. So, anything more you wanted to say about that, Dr. Christiana?
Well, one
No,
thing I thought about earlier too, and the audience is going to love this story.
Okay,
When
good.
I got married, um, my husband wasn't fully into like eating as many fruits and vegetables as I am, right? So I met him in Kansas, where I earned my master's degree, and then from there we moved to Indiana. I earned my PhD at Purdue University in the Midwest.
Mhm.
And like speaking of petite practices, I wasn't just like putting a big salad in front of him and saying, "All right, this is it. Here we are. We are dating, and that's just what I eat." Because that's not fair.
Right.
You can't just expose somebody like this to like a new culture, a new habit, because of course we all want to be living a healthy life. But for somebody that's like used to eating large bowls of salad and grew up with it, you can't just expect that somebody else that's coming into your life is going to adopt that habit and is going to do the
Yeah.
same thing.
Mm.
So we really started with baby steps and the petite practices. Like there was maybe like, some salad on a burger, and then we put a little salad on the side of the burger, and then that salad took up maybe like a quarter of the plate and then half of the plate. And then it became so big we needed a new plate. And so that's kind of like what happened. But I remember at the beginning, my husband literally said, "I don't think I can do the big salads." So I was
Oh,
like, yeah, I think we have to really like break this down into smaller steps here. This is a lot. I can totally see
yeah.
that. So yep, that's telling you a lot about who I am. I'm
You live it and breathe it, right?
you
right.
have
Right.
to,
You
because I
do.
mean people
Yeah.
people are people. That's what
Yeah.
Brené Brown says that too. People are people, and
Yeah.
you have to accept them the way that they are. You can't change somebody unless they want to change.
No,
So unless they
exactly.
say, "I want to eat a big salad every evening," and they're like fully into this, you can't just expect that they're going to do it because you do it, because
No.
you can't control what they put on their plate, right? But that's what
No.
happens. Now he's much more into this. Yes.
Nice. Oh,
Right.
that's fantastic. Thank you for sharing that. That's good. Okay, well, this has been such a fun and insightful conversation, Dr. Christiana. Before we wrap up, we always like to leave our listeners with one final empowering thought. So, if you could leave everyone with one empowering message, what would that be?
Pick out your personal mantra, the words that really get you going, and write them on a sticky note and put them somewhere so you can see it. Because I feel there are moments when we're really alone, maybe even more moments of being lonely than being with others. And then you sometimes need that little pick me up. And it helps me so much. It could be a saying that really resonates with you. It could be a quote that really gets you started and gets you going. And if you feel a sticky note is not the thing, maybe put it on your phone. So it might be the
Mm.
first thing that you see when you unlock your phone, which we do so many times during the day. So create like a little mood board on your phone with maybe an image and a quote that really means something to you. And it's tremendous. And again, it's free and it's so small,
Yeah.
but it will really get you unstuck, because those places where you look, whether it's on your computer, on your phone, really mean a lot in your life. And if you see something that is making you happy when you're maybe having a stressful day, that can totally be a big game changer right there. So I would encourage you
Yes.
to think about that. And it always helps me.
Love that. Yeah. It made me think I use my I don't want to say her name out loud. My Alexa. Right?
Mhm,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. So every morning, like she says, gives me something positive to think about. And then throughout the day, she tells me, get up and move. You've been sitting too long. Right. So yeah, because before you know it, the day is half gone and you haven't gotten away from your computer. So I have those little micro
Micro
steps.
actions.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Perfect. Right there.
Good.
Micro actions in action.
Thank you.
I
Thank
love
you.
that you mentioned images as well, because sometimes, a picture's worth a
Yes.
thousand words. And so sometimes there's an image that just takes your breath away, that
Mm,
just kind of puts you in that frame of mind where you just feel light or you feel wonderful. And they're different, depending on how you want to feel, you have different images for that. And just a small image on your phone to just bring up and just remind yourself to bring these different images up depending on your needs at the time. That is a wonderful thing to do, because it's just that microsecond that it just
yeah.
feeds our, goes through our eyes, feeds our nervous system, and just all of our hormones go crazy, our good hormones and all that. And so that's a wonderful thought too, just having, because we all have our phones on us more often than we'd
Right.
like to admit. And so to
Yeah.
have those different images or even quotes and things, that's a wonderful idea, just something very quick to do.
Yeah. And then of course you could even like change your screensaver, or have your
Mhm.
screensaver be that motivational thing. And or maybe when you open up a drawer, it's a filing cabinet and there's your work
Mm,
in there, put that little quote on top of the file. So you
right.
see the quote before you grab a file. I mean,
Yeah.
the options are endless, but it's quite simple. And we
Yes.
we tend to get like so quick in the moment of joy that it's just again that micro action that we're really taking advantage of to get us going and get us unstuck.
Yes. I agree.
Absolutely. Yep. Beautifully said. Beautifully said. Okay, so thank you so much, Dr. Christiana, for sharing your wisdom and these practical, purposeful steps with us today. Lorraine, do you have final thoughts, comments?
Yes, thank you. It was so wonderful having you on. I
Mm,
just love hearing about this. It is such an empowering
mm,
system, and we're all about that.
yeah.
And growth. We're all about growth. We're all about progressing. We're all about continuing our journey in a powerful path. And I just love that. So thank you so much for coming on and sharing your wisdom with us. And Petite Practice.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, that was really, really fun. And thanks for the audience for tuning in. And I love that our podcasts are so related in terms of
Yeah.
work. I think this was just meant to be.
It
Yeah,
was. It's so cool.
agreed.
So cool. Yep. So thanks again. And for anyone listening who wants to learn more, we'll include all of Dr. Christiana's links in the show notes, including her Discover Your Superpower quiz and her Happy Healthy Hustle podcast. So you can absolutely chime in and listen to that. And please remember to like and share, follow us if this episode resonates with you. So your challenge for this week is to take Dr. Christiana's quiz and figure out what your petite practice is that was going to propel you forward and make your life successful and happy. Okay, so, and remember, in a world where you can be anything, be kind, be happy, and be healthy.
Thanks for tuning in to the Happy Healthy Her podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to share it with anyone you think would benefit from the topics we're discussing. We'd love to hear from you. DM us with your thoughts, comments, or ideas for future episodes. And don't forget to check out the links in our bio if you'd like to connect with any of us or learn more about what we do. Until next time, remember, in a world where you can be anything, be kind, be happy, and be healthy.